Welcome into the Junior and Senior Nothing But Sports podcast. We're here for another prediction special. We got college football week 2 headed your way. And this is usually the time where we start to see, I kind of call it like a show me type of week when it comes to college. Because I've been, seeing a lot of podcasts and a lot of analysts react to what's happened so far, and I would just caution everybody to relax. I think there's been a lot of overreaction, and then there's also been a lot of underreaction, pretty much. I think Florida State is probably the only reaction that's been appropriate because they've played 2 games and they look the same. And they look like they're getting worse. So as far as everybody else goes, I know there's been a lot of Oregon people on Oregon. They dropped a couple spots in the AP poll, which is, I get it. But I think, again, to drop them about 4 or 5 spots is a little ridiculous. They did win the game. It looked weird, the score, but they won the game. And that's the most important thing. As far as it being early. So we're going to get into these picks. As far as the leaderboard as it comes to me and my pops here, it's unfortunate that I think he's beating me right now by a score of 7-3. Boston College really did a number on me. I'm happy they won, I love upsets and whatnot, but I didn't foresee that coming. So yeah, he's up on me right now by a couple points, but I feel like this week 2 here is where we're gonna, like I said, we're really gonna start to see some difference. We're gonna start with number 3 Texas at number 10 Michigan. We're gonna start with his team. Big noon Fox game, early game. One of the most important games of the season, early, probably in the first half of the season. Definitely one of the most important games. And I'm just gonna go ahead and go first here. I'm gonna pick Texas to win. This offense did not look good to me against Fresno. And again, much like the Oregon game, they were at home against a team they were better than. They won the game in the end. They pulled away. Will Johnson got the job done, and the defense did their job. I never thought Fresno was actually going to win this game at all. But I actually thought that Alex Orji was going to be the starter for the season, and they brought out Davis Warren, and they really didn't let Alex Orji do anything else except run a couple plays, little option here, option there. But Warren, it didn't look good. And the last thing you want is to have something like that happen. And now you got to face one of the best teams in the country, no matter where the game's at. That's tough. So I don't know how they're going to work this QB situation. I don't know who's going to start. But it wasn't solid enough for me on that side. Donovan Edwards, one of the best running backs in the country, it just didn't look right. The offensive line, they didn't give a push that I thought they would. They didn't really wear him down in the second half like I thought they would. So those things concern me. Now, I do think they're going to play a hell of a game. No question about it. This is going to be probably one of the better games, and there are a lot of them we're going to pick. This is a star-studded weekend, and I do think this will be one of the better games this will probably be a field goal type game. I just think that Texas, to me, I trust Quinn Ewers more than I trust either of the 2 guys they have down there in Michigan. But their defense is going to play their tails off against that Texas offense, no question about it. But I don't know if they can score enough to beat Texas. So I'm going to take Texas to win a 24-20 type of game. What say you, Michigan man?
Well, you already answered. Michigan.
No.
Close game.
I thought
At the end of the day.
I thought I could.
I'm going to give my reasons to why, because both teams are good. Both teams in the top 10.
You don't. Do you have any worry that about
No,
how that
like
offense looked?
No, because like you said, Fresno's a pretty decent team.
They are.
It's not like we played anybody smaller than them. Fresno is a formidable team.
No,
we didn't go up against a cupcake at the Big House. We went up against a team that actually know how to play football.
Yeah, but relative to other teams, they are sort of a cupcake. I mean, But the point I'm trying to make is that I understand against Fresno, you start off slow, you got a new quarterback in. But what I'm saying is, based on how that looked on the offensive side, it wasn't just the quarterback. Donovan, they did not run the ball well either. And you're going up against a defensive line of Texas that is massive, that is SEC-like now that they're in the SEC. Sarkez, he is recruited well. Now, the cornerback area is definitely in question at Texas still until we see, some improvement. So if they're going to attack, but that's not Michigan's game. They like to beat you up and wear you down. And like I said, it's a close game. I would not be surprised if Michigan wins it all, because I do think they've been underrated by a lot of people. And I'm already seeing people say if they win, all of a sudden Texas is. I'm just like, what? There's two good teams. USC, LSU, the same thing. I'm not over here going nuts. We played a very good, hard, physical football game, and we came on the losing end. But the season is not over for Michigan if they lose this game, and it's not over for Texas. Same thing on the other side with the LSU game. There's a lot of hard football games to go. And, again, Michigan, you want to talk about a schedule, they're going to have plenty more opportunities. You still got to play USC, who, if they look as good as what we saw, that's going to be a heck of a game in about, I think is that next week? I had to look at that. Either next week or the week after, they got USC coming into town. And then you got Oregon at the end and Ohio State. So they have plenty of opportunities. So I do believe in Michigan, no question about it. But I just think in this game, I think Texas just might be a field goal better. Next, we got number 17, Kansas State going to Tulane. I think, again, I love my Louisiana team. So for the most part, if I think they have the talent to win, it's going to be hard for me to pick against them. I saw Ole Miss come in here. What was that, last year? Last year, the year before that. I saw Ole Miss come in there and come with a backup quarterback to Tulane as well. Come in there and barely escape. Now the trickiest thing for Tulane is they have to win, because they got to go play Oklahoma next week, I believe, in Norman. So they got to play a Big 12 and an SEC team almost back to back, and that's almost like they're being punished for being in a group of 5 conference. So you got to play 2 top 25 teams, one of them at home, one of them on the road. You have to win at least one of these in order for them to be at the end of the year where I have them as being in the playoff as one of the highest ranked group of 5 teams. You got to win one of these games. So I'm going to pick Tulane to win this game at home. Early game, Kansas State, I watched them a little bit in their week 1. They beat the brakes off of, I forget who they played, but it wasn't nobody of note. They did what they're supposed to do. Avery Johnson is their quarterback. He's the guy who beat out Will Howard, who's now at Ohio State. He kind of looks like a Colin Klein type of guy back when he was running over people. But not enough information on Kansas State because they didn't play anybody. So, and Tulane also beat the brakes off of one of the Louisiana teams, so they took care of business as well. Like I said, it's an early game. We haven't really had any upsets this year so far, 2 weeks in. Boston College and Georgia Tech, really the only two teams that beat Florida State, the only upsets we've had. So in order for this to be one of the greatest seasons in college football history, like I predicted, we're going to start to see some upsets, number one. And number two, we're going to start seeing some better games, because week one was probably, football-wise, one of the worst weeks ever. There was blowouts everywhere. To be fair, they were playing nobody, so you expect that. But the best two games were the Notre Dame game, primetime, and the USC game. Every other game wasn't even close. So we need to start seeing some great games and some upsets. And this is probably my first upset of the year. I got Tulane at home. They seem to have a 2-quarterback system going right now. And of course, I play with them on College Football 25, so I know who they have, and I know where they're good at. So yeah, give me Tulane, first upset of the year, and they start to get that campaign going for the college football playoff. What say you, sir?
Kansas State is going to be just a tad bit too much for Tulane.
What the hell?
In the end, they're gonna hang around. I just think at some point they're gonna pull away, because they've gotten better over the years. A lot of most if not the entire team has come back, and they're a team that battles. Tulane's got a lot of talent, but just something about this matchup that tells me that Kansas State might be slightly a little too much for the Green Wave before it's over, before it's all said and done.
All right, so we're disagreeing so far. So this outcome is definitely, I'm down by 4 points, so I'm gonna stop playing around. I can't lose to an elder, or a future elder. Next game is a 9:30 game. There's about 6 of those here in week 2. So again, you get Thursday, you get NFL by itself. Friday, you get NFL, and you get a couple college. Saturday, you're wall-to-wall. Sunday, you're wall-to-wall. And then Monday, you get Monday night. So it's going to be a long but great weekend. Mississippi State of the SEC going on the road to take on the newly Big 12 acquired team of Arizona State. Now, I'm going to let you pick this game first, but I just want to say, again, both of these teams, I will say one thing about last week. There were a lot of blowouts, yes, but this is something that never happens. Almost every team that played a team that was below them beat them into the ground. That never happens. At least 5 or 6 teams here or there struggle, and you're kind of looking at the scoreboard like, what's going on? Other than Oregon, and to some extent Michigan, pretty much everybody put almost 50 to 60 points. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Both these teams took care of business. I'm very surprised that Arizona State did what they did to Wyoming. That was a beatdown. This is an interesting game because I don't think either of these teams are going anywhere this year. And usually in those cases when I have 2 even teams, I did say I was going to let you pick first, but I lied. I'm going to go with Arizona State. It's a night game. They're at home. An SEC team going to a dark, what used to be Pac-12. That's interesting. That's really interesting. And a couple of teams have come down to the Arizona in that game and lost on a late night. So I'm going to take Arizona State to win this. It's going to be a fun matchup, but I'm going to take the Sun Devils in this game. What do you got?
Against who?
Mississippi State.
I got Mississippi State because I just don't trust Arizona State. Not enough to beat an SEC team, period.
Yeah.
I just don't.
I get that.
It's gonna be a loaded stadium, but we've already seen that. Clearly, we've seen that home field advantage doesn't really. I ain't gonna say it doesn't matter. It's just it doesn't guarantee you a victory. Just ask the 12th man in College Station.
Yeah.
So they'll be out there. It'll be a night game. It'll be crazy. But Mississippi State, one of those SEC teams that really don't care what a game is being played at as well. And they quietly packed some talent on that squad. And they've been in rebuild mode over the past couple of years. So this is a somewhat loaded team. So I'm not saying blowout either.
Oh no,
Arizona State is going to be formidable. They're going to give them everything that they can handle.
These late night games tend to be crazy.
Mississippi State is going to find a way to literally run out of the building with a win.
Okay.
Literally.
I'm not going that far. This is also a pick against my boy Devin, who used to work with me. Still my boy, but he's a Mississippi State guy. So he knows I hate Mississippi State. So this is for you, buddy. Go Sun Devils. Also, Sun Devils. Any team out of Louisiana, obviously all my Louisiana teams are my first and foremost. But after that, I'd probably say Texas. It's like Texas, Michigan, and Arizona State. And I'd probably throw Purdue in there as like teams outside Louisiana that I root for the hardest. So I'm always rooting for Arizona State. It's just been a tough road for them because they've had a lot of issues. They had the whole issue. Well, it wasn't really their fault, but the whole thing with the Rashada kid. You had Herm Edwards there. He had Jaden Daniels for a couple of years, and they had Brandon Ayuk, and did nothing. So it's been a hard road for them. But I remember that one year where they were like 8th or 9th at the end of the year. It was getting close to the end of the year, and they looked good. And then they lost to Oregon State on the road. It crushed me. But that was the last time they were really in the hunt. Mississippi State, well, I was going to say they can't never say that, but they did have Dak, and he had them in a favorable position. So both these teams know what it feels like to be near the end and, not fall through. So it's not that, not like they can't do it again, especially with a 12-team playoff. But I have Arizona State winning. Next, we got Arkansas at number 16, Oklahoma State. This is another early start game on ABC. Again, Arkansas, we watched that game that Thursday night. I think it was like 70-0. They beat the brakes off of Pine Bluff. In Oklahoma State, they won in a convincing way against South Dakota State, the FCS champions from last year. But like I said, it was close. It was shaky early, but they took care of business with Ollie Gordon, one of the best running backs in the country. So who do you have winning this game?
Arkansas. I don't believe in. I just think Oklahoma State for what it's sitting at number 16. They got to show me something. Arkansas dropped 70 on Pine Bluff, but if they didn't have the talent that they had on their team, they would have struggled just like anybody else struggled against some of these smaller schools. And I really believe Arkansas is going to go into Oklahoma State and beat the Cowboys. Another close one.
No, this is going to be a close game. And also, people have to understand that this is a big game. Not just because of the two teams and because Oklahoma State's ranked and they're at home. This is SEC versus Big 12. If the Big 12 can get a win over an SEC team, I don't care if it's Vanderbilt or Kentucky. It doesn't matter. If a Big 12 team at home gets a win over an SEC team, especially after what Arkansas did last week to nobody, that gives them more leverage because there are a lot of analysts and podcasters and pundits out there who want to put 5 or 6 SEC teams in the college football playoff. Miami doing what they did to Florida was a big win for the ACC. Now it's the Big 12's turn. And also we did that, I could say that about Mississippi State and Arizona State as well. That's crazy. Honestly, it's 2 SEC teams against 2 Big 12 teams. The Big 12 has really got to show up right now.